What's up, everybody? Mark with Chord Academy here, and today I'm very excited because I get to talk about one of my favorite vocalists. If you're on the channel frequently, you know that my favorite I have a lot of favorite metal vocalists, but vocalists that I just really love all the time are Davy, Job For A Cowboy, Alex Tan, Black Tongue, Travis Ryan, Cattle Decapitation, Devin Townsend. Like these are some of my absolute favorite vocalists ever. And so you can imagine how excited I've been knowing that like we've been getting this trickle of Job For A Cowboy stuff, and that there's an album on the horizon, and I'm pumped. I'm absolutely pumped. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Mark. I'm a metal vocalist myself. Been doing metal vocals for about 14 years. I've been doing metal vocals for about 14 years. And I'm a full-time metal vocal coach. I teach people how to do, metal vocals safely and efficiently, so they don't hurt themselves and they can make cool music and do covers and all this stuff. I'm also in a band called Kardashev. We're on Metal Blade Records, released an album. Oh my God, it's been almost 2 years ago. Shoo. It's a long time. And I talk about vocals on this channel. I pause, I respond to what I hear. I talk about what the vocalist is doing or how I would do it if what they're doing is not safe, or my best guess, because sometimes, I don't know. I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And that's it. If you like the content, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Means a lot to watch the channel grow. Also, last little caveat, most of my approach to metal vocal analysis is through the lens of false chord vocals. I talk about Fry all the time. I teach Fry students, but I myself am more of a false chord guy. And that's how I'm going to be approaching this video, probably more than likely. Because sometimes it's more about how you can generate similar sounds. You don't have to actually be copying the vocalist. And if you like that approach, check out chordacademy.com. We've got an e-course called False Chord Fundamentals, which has been helping a lot of people. So if you don't know where to start with metal vocals and you want a way that's super easy because all you got to do is just grunt, check it out. That's a good way to start. But let's do this. Job For A Cowboy, Beyond the Chemical Doorway. Here we go. Okay, we have got a little bit of an instrumental break, so I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit. 55 seconds, not bad. Okay, so I've talked about this in Job For A Cowboy. I think I've only ever done one other Job For A Cowboy video, but one of my favorite things about Johnny's voice is the way that he like chews on and spits out and just tosses his vocals around. Like a lot of vocalists, they have their vocal technique. Like when you think about vocalists like Will Ramos or Ben Dorr or like Cheney from Entheos, or I'm trying to think of a lot of the other vocalists that I really like. Those are the first three that come to mind. A lot of what you hear is very well controlled, very, very refined vocal technique. And Davy, he's got that here for sure, but his approach and his delivery is absolutely different, right? Like if this I've got a lot of weird analogies and you're just going to have to suffer through it. If this was my metal vocal, right? This pillow from my chair, a lot of metal vocalists would hand it to you like this. Here you are, metal vocals, please enjoy. I feel like Davy goes like this. Here. And it sounds so sick, right? Like if he was going to scream the word like, I don't know. What's a good word? If he was going to scream the word after, right? And he was going to do it in high vocal, right? After. That's how a lot of people would do it. After. Right? That's how a lot of people would go about it. He's gonna let that word flop out of his mouth. He's gonna catch it. He's gonna slap it on the table, give it the bird, and then hand it to you. He's gonna go like after. Right? And it's just every single word. And somehow he manages to put so much emotion, so much grit on each word, and it doesn't sound over the top. It doesn't sound overdone. And I'll be real, like on a mechanical level, I know how he does it, but I don't know how he puts so much venom on his voice, and it doesn't get overbearing. Let's keep going. I'll talk about that later. Yeah, I'll talk about it later. We have more song to listen to. So I'm going to stop it. That riff sounds like it's going to be so good. So I'm going to stop it here because, like, I want to talk about a couple things. The first, I'll get out of the way first, quickly. But man, you know, a lot of bands, they go farther, their careers span more time, and their music changes to the degree where it's not always our favorite progression, right? I think Job for a Cowboy has only gotten better. Like this sound that we're hearing, I know they got a new bassist, and I think, I can't remember his name, but I think that was a big part of the reason why. But I had to look it up. So Sun Eater came out in 2014, and I feel like that is almost really where Job for a Cowboy like really not peaked, but like entered, not peaked, entered an extremely good chapter. I mean, I loved, and I still listen to Ruination and Tarnished Gluttony, which I think Tarnished Gluttony is on Genesis, Demonocracy, I don't remember. But I still love those songs. I still listen to them. You know, we all spend Doom EP every once in a while, Intuitive Machine, come on. But like this era of Job for a Cowboy is so creative and so riffy and so technical, but still so aggressive. You know, oftentimes when metal gets more and more technical, it becomes less just like down in the dirt, gritty, bloody aggression. And we still have that here, right? Now, one thing that I talk about a lot, and this isn't, you know, my own, I didn't come up with this advice, but I'm here to share it with you because it's useful. One thing that can be really useful with our metal vocals, once we get our tone, is to step away from the approach of singing, right? When we sing, now, I'm not saying that metal vocals don't count as singing. Honestly, I have no skin in that game. People get in heated debates, and I've got stuff to do. Right? If you think metal vocals count as singing, let me know in the comments below. I would probably say yes, but if somebody had a good case to make, you know, and they were on a high horse about why it doesn't count, I'd probably keep listening for a good minute before I got bored, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But either way, what I mean by this is oftentimes when new vocalists will start screaming, they will think that they how do I describe this, right? Their desire to make it function musically like a singing voice will suck all the emotion out of it, right? So for example, let's say I had like this basic false chord sound, like this, right? That sound, okay? Now, let's say, okay, here we go. Aladdin. I can show you the world, right? If I do that with my false chords, right? Nay, I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Hear how that's kind of freaking boring, right? It's like, yeah, it's a false chord tone, and yeah, I was doing it right, but I wouldn't want to listen to that, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about not how I would sing that song. I'm going to think about how I would say those lyrics if I was mad, right? And this is going to be some goofy shit, right? If you are a metal vocalist, if you're learning to do metal vocals, you gotta be comfortable sounding really dumb. So get ready. So I'm not going to sing that. I'm not going to be like, you know, I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid, right? I'm going to be mad about it. I'm going to be like, listen, I can show you the fucking world. It's shining, it's shimmering, it's splendid. Now tell me, princess, When's the last time you let your fucking heart decide, right? Don't talk to the people in your life like that. This is just an exercise. Now, I'm going to take that approach to my vocals, right? So instead of, I can show you the world, I'm going, I can show you the fucking world, shining, shimmering, splendid. Tell me, princess, now when's the last time you let your heart decide? Right? And that's a lot more fun, and it's a lot more interesting to listen to. Hopefully that didn't like absolutely destroy my levels. Ooh, it kind of did. Anyway, so that's a lot of what I hear in this section. Johnny is very emotion first, and I love that approach to metal vocals. Here we go. Let's keep going. What am I even just like yelling aggressive Disney lyrics? It's a strange day. Here we go. My flesh, like the voices, rockets in my deep in the void, sleeping for the legs and nose. Okay, we got to talk about vocals. I got to pause at some point, so I have something to put in the dispute section when this inevitably gets copyright strike on it or whatever. Man, this song is a feast. Let me tell you something. A large portion of running a reaction channel is finding the best of things, right? I've always been the kind of guy who, if I go to a restaurant and it's not my type of food, it's not my type of restaurant, I'm going to do my best to find something I enjoy, and I'm going to maximize that in the company I'm with, because nobody likes a Debbie Downer, right? And that's how that happens sometimes on this channel. There's a song, and in my head, I'm like, I would never listen to this again. But in the moment, I'm here to teach you about vocals and enjoy something with you, right? So I find something to enjoy and I maximize it. This song, I ain't having to do that at all. This song, I love the instrumentation. I love the cymbal play. I'm not somebody who really gets into drums very much, but like that and the weird like back and forth panning cymbal play. Oh my God, that was so, loved it. And so much respect for Johnny for keeping his mouth shut over all that crazy, beautiful technical instrumentation. His voice is one of my favorite voices in the world, right? But the fact that he knows when to pull back, to let the song, like, that's the difference between somebody who can do metal vocals, a fucking vocalist. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, that person, so good. Now, one thing I really like about Johnny's voice and Johnny's abilities is how effortlessly he lifts and drops things, right? Lifts and drops things. And that can be difficult for a lot of vocalists, but regardless of your technique, false chord fry, it's actually not that bad. Once we realize that our goal here is to change the shape of the airflow more than it is to squeeze and release our distortion, right? So for example, if I take, again, a really boring false chord grunt, just like, oh, nothing fancy here. Now, when I do that, I've made sure that I'm using my support. My ribs are open. I'm feeling the grit predominantly up behind my tongue, a little bit higher. I do feel some residual resonance in my throat. And we know that with our supraglottal tissues rattling around the way that they are, we are getting distortion in that place. but the sensation is mostly higher up. And that's a big important thing, and why I usually start people with, if they're brand new, I'll start people with false chord or fry, but if they're brand new and they like have difficulties being in touch with their body, usually I'm going to start them false chord, because what it does is it creates a healthy degree of separation between the distortion and the actual vocal cords. And that's very important for your vocal safety. So anyway, I'm going to take that, and I'm not going to change anything in my throat. What I'm going to do is I'm mostly going to change the mouth, the back of the mouth, the lips, the tongue, the embouchure you hear me say a lot. But I'm going to go, there's this, and I'm going to go, and actually, as an exercise, I'm going to let this fall apart. I'm not going to be worried about it being too controlled. My goal is to feel it go that way, or that's not, to go this way, I should say, because we want to resonate when we're doing low tones. We want to resonate into our mouth versus down onto the floor, right? But I'm going to focus on it going that way, and anything else is fine. So I'm here. This is like a mid vocal, right? Nay, I, hey. I'm going to go, hey. When I'm doing that, mostly what's happening is my tongue is moving forward, my lips are puckering, my jaw is dropping. There is a movement of the larynx, but it's very subtle. It's going up very slightly. Right? I'm not having to push much harder. Now I'm going to do the other direction. I'm going to go, yeah. And I'm going to think less about like, moving towards high notes, although having a good control of singing high notes can be very helpful for finding your vocals. But instead of going like, instead of taking that approach, I'm going to take the approach of like, if I was to like just spit it out. Right? So here's the mid. Does that sound super cool? No, but it's super comfortable, and you can hear it moving towards a high. Right? So then I can take them, and I can stitch them together. And you get, that sounded like one of those little like car alarm toys, like on a woo woo woo, right? And then you get some really cool sounds, and they're easy to do and easy to move around, because my neck is very relaxed and the space around my vocal folds is relaxed. The only thing I will point out, because I say this all the time, because this is a question I get very, very frequently. False chord, in my experience, can make the spit in the back of your mouth really foamy, especially if you're not well hydrated. It always makes my spit a little bit foamy. If that foaminess is coming from like the tongue and the back of the mouth and the salivary glands here, since everything is rattling, nothing to worry about. If it's very thick and mucousy and it's kicking up from your throat, and you don't already have like something going on in your chest, then you might be putting too much work on the vocal folds, because sometimes as a response to your vocal folds slapping together real hard, your body will secrete mucus and very thick saliva to protect them. So if it's foamy back here, no problem. You just do what I'm clearly doing, where you're just like, anyway. But if it's like phlegm kicking up from there, then you might want to take a step back and reevaluate your technique, or hit me up and I'll help you. Here we go. I don't care. I'm pausing. That high vocal that he came in with, I love. There's like an audible like at the beginning. Right? There's a I love how they left that in. That's so cool. I'm going back. We're going back. Now that eye is spooky. Now here we also hear a little bit of like a compression on the false chord. Now compression is a kind of a slippery term, and I'll be honest, I don't love it, but I don't really have a better option. I don't have a suggestion to bring to the table. I'm just complaining. No, I'm just kidding. But essentially, when we talk about compression, part of the reason it's spicy is because people think that, number one, it requires like this huge resistance of airflow, which sometimes it does, right? Other times they think that they have to squeeze their vocal folds really hard, but they don't, right? So if I take a false chord vocal and I keep it super relaxed, I just utilize airflow, just breath. A lot of people refer to this as breath distortion. And I think that's a really good term. I think that makes, like, a lot of metal vocal terms, I don't think they make a lot of sense. I think they're kind of dumb, to be honest with you. Like, why do we call this a tunnel? Like, I guess it kind of sounds like you're in a tunnel, but like structurally a tunnel is a big hollow space. And all I'm doing is like I'm making the space less. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not a bad term. I just don't love it. But like breath distortion, I think is a great term because it's literally air and distortion. Right? And you get that cool tone. If I want to hold on to that and make it a little bit chunkier, what I'm going to do with my airflow is I'm going to narrow it slightly. There are different ways to do this. There are a lot of places in the vocal tract where you can narrow. You don't want to do it with the actual vocal folds. And it's actually pretty easy to know if you're using the vocal folds because it'll feel very tight here and it'll sound like you're picking up something heavy. Right, you're right there and you'll get that squeeze, or you kind of sound like an anime character. I challenge you to a duel. I've been practicing in the mountains. Whatever. I don't watch a lot of anime, so if that was a bad example, I apologize. Shout out to Mushishi though, one of the best shows ever made. Anyways, doesn't matter. But where I like to narrow personally is at kind of the top of the throat, back of the tongue. Oh, or oh. And it kind of feels like swallowing a little bit. It's very gentle, but if I take my just air and I right, you'll get more of that tone. And we can create varying degrees of closure, right? So no closure. Hey. A little bit of closure. Hey, oh. More closure. Tons of closure. Right? And it's just a matter of basically going, and when I do that, you can see my tongue squeezing. I feel all the squeeze at the back of the tongue, top of the throat, right here where my actual vocal folds live. I don't feel much of anything. And that's how you keep those sounds safe and healthy while you're pressing into them. Let's keep going. My only beef with this song so far is that with how good it is, this should have been at least 6 minutes. 4 minutes and 16 seconds? I'm a grown man. I can eat more than that. Here we go. Yeah, that's the end. All right, well, I really wanted that song to be longer. That would have been great, but that's okay. I know I'm a bit of a glutton. Excellent vocal work. Insanely good vocal work. Johnny, he always delivers. He always delivers. Excellent. I don't know. I'm just repeating myself. Listen, it's an awesome song. And I give you, I don't know how else I would have. I have to listen to it like 6 or 7 more times, which I'm clearly planning to do. Also, there's a little bit of completely unwarranted pride since they're from Arizona. Well, originally. That means nothing, but for some reason I was still like, yeah, Arizona, yeah, even though I had nothing to do with it at all. But anyway, absolutely love. This might be my favorite song I've heard from them in a while. Son of Nailed It is a good one. But beyond that, love this song. Very excited for the upcoming album. If you like my approach to vocals, if you like the way I talk about them and I view them, which is basically low effort, I think we all should go about vocals like we're lazy pieces of shit. Put in the least amount of work to get the best sound as possible. That's my whole thing. But if you like that, check out cartervoxacademy.com. I do give one-on-one lessons. There can be a little bit of a wait list. So in the meantime, you can check out False Chord Fundamentals, which is the basis of every sound that I made in this video today. And that's all I have. Really appreciate your time. We're revamping the Patreon. This past year, our Patreon and our Discord server has been kind of dormant because I had a kid, and my business partner Quigs, he's got 2 kids, and so we're both like family men now, and we were basically like, what the hell's going on? So we had to kind of like really slow it down, but we're picking it back up. We're going to be doing a lot of cool things. Keep an eye out for that. But beyond that, I got one more video to do. Thank you all so much for hanging out while I talked about this banger of a song, and that's it. Many thanks, much love, I'm out.